Brands on Brands.
Hey, what's up? Today we're talking about how to build a personal brand. My steps straight to you. Check them out.
In a world where content is king and your reputation is your brand, how do you build a brand that matters? Welcome to Brands on Brands, a home for those that think different and push their boundaries. This is where branding that matters lives. Now, here is your host, Brandon Birkmeyer.
Hey, what's up? Welcome to Brands on Brands. I'm Brandon Birkmeyer, your personal branding coach, and I believe that building a brand that matters today is the only way for a person to thrive tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in. This is our ultimate guide to personal branding. That's what we're talking about today, how to start a personal brand. And let's get going. And if you guys want any of this information, go to brandsonbrands.com/blog, and you can read through this in more detail to this specific episode. And if you guys ever want to set up communication with me or talk to me one-on-one, you can always go to brandsonbrands.com/coach. So just want to get that out of the way. Here we go.
Brands on Brands.
What is personal branding? So personal branding, let's set the definition here first before we get started. For me, personal branding is really all about reputation. Your reputation defines how people see you, approach you, and eventually want to do business with you. Your personal brand is how you represent yourself to the world. So as an example, if you are starting a business or you're thinking about starting a business, or you want to be a coach or a mentor or provide some kind of service where your reputation is the basis for the service and drives the success of the service, you're going to want to make sure that you are doing a few things. You're going to want to make sure that you are positioned in the market. In other words, that people know what you do, how you do it, and if you're good at it or not. You're also going to want to be able to explain to people why you're different and what it is that makes them right for your service and you right for them in terms of helping them, right? So this is all about figuring out who you are. So when I get people started in terms of their personal branding journey, the first question I ask is, how do you want to help people? What are you looking to offer? And I think it's a simple question, but it's one that a lot of people struggle with right off the bat because they know what they've done in the past. A lot of people are experts in something because they did a job for many, many years. There's a good book on this called The E-Myth, which is about not online E, but like E as in entrepreneurship myth. And the book is really about, talking about how when you leave something like a corporate job or you're a technician or a specialist at something, and then you switch to wanting to be an entrepreneur, you aren't prepared for that. You aren't used to all the other things that come with being an entrepreneur, which includes running a business, sales, business development, execution, all that other stuff. You just know how to do your job. So in terms of personal branding, figuring out the thing that you want to help people with is number one. And it doesn't come from them. It's not you asking everyone that you know how you think you could help them. It's you figuring out what category of thing you can start helping people with today, and then talking to people about that. So first it is, how do you help people, right? And the three branches, the three-pillar framework that I like to explain for personal branding really revolves around the ideas of content, community, and impact is how I like to frame it. And how I used to think about this was, create content around the thing you love, gather people around that content that love the thing that you're talking about, and then ask them how you want to serve them. I actually have started to evolve the way I think about that when actually working with people who are building real businesses. Really what I found is we start with the impact. We start with the piece of the puzzle that is closest to the customer. In other words, how can you help someone today, right? So let's talk about that first. Let's talk about impact. What is your offer? How can you help people today? Now, the way I want you to think about your offer is this. Your offer should be something tangible, right? There are done for you services, there's done with you services, and there is knowledge, right? Which could be digital courses and things like that. I think a lot of us start with the content and we never get into the actual done for you, or we charge so much for it that it's, everything in the kitchen sink and no one would ever want to buy it. What I would challenge you to do is, especially if you're starting, is to say, what is the thing? What is the done for you service that I can help someone with right now? And keep it small and simple and easy to understand. So if you are a marketing consultant like I was when I left corporate, it's something very small like, let me help you write your email sequences. Let me help you set up your email campaigns. Or let me help you manage your Instagram profile and posts. Or let me run Facebook ads. Something very small, simple, singular, and tangible that isn't coaching, it isn't strategy, it isn't mindset, it isn't teaching people your special approach. It is a simple done for you service that people need help with right now. The reason you want to start with something like that is to start creating impact right away. To say, I'm going to find people that I can serve based on my skill set and the things that I know, my knowledge base, and I'm going to start helping people right away. What that does is it puts you in a position where you need to be outward facing with your energy. You need to, all the things that you are trying to accomplish, all that energy, instead of you going to your brain with it and trying to analyze and plot out all the strategic ways that you could execute this and build your business, instead of it being internalized and you sitting in your bedroom and typing up websites and cool offers, you are out there networking, meeting people, and making offers to help them based on the couple of things you can do that are done for you that are small and tangible. What that does is that energy you're bringing to meeting other people puts you in positions to start building relationships and also start to build some credibility and reputation in your industry. The more people you help, the more you can evolve and grow what you're helping them with. And then you can start to bake in these other ways to help them. And as the demand increases for your services, as more people want to work with you and your time starts to get crunched, that demand changes what your offers are, right? Instead of it being done for you for everybody, you might have to offer some done with you because you just don't have the time. You can also raise your rates because you just don't have the time. Let the demand dictate how the offer evolves, the offer evolution, okay? So impact first. And even if that means that you're helping people for free, that is okay. Again, build some reputation with the impact you can make. And maybe there's some people you can barter with and trade with. Say, I'll help you with this. You help me with that. I'll help you with this service, and maybe you can build my website. Maybe you can take some professional photos of me. Maybe you can help me with an email system. Whatever it might be. Maybe you can refer me a client. Every person you meet has the energy potentially and the network potentially to introduce you to 5, 6 more customers, right? There's some efficiency to that where you're putting your energy. So start with that. Start with impact. The second thing I want you to lean into is the community part of this. So what I'd like you to do is think about, where can I show up? Not how do I build a community, which is how a lot of people think about it, but where can I show up and represent me to other people? How can I put my reputation out there to as many people as possible that are relevant? And that might mean trying out a bunch of different things. It might mean joining your local B&I networking group. It might mean joining a co-working space in your local city to meet other entrepreneurs and business owners. It might mean going to your Chamber of Commerce. I know that's old school, but still going to those meetings that they have to just meet other people. It might mean showing up to events in your industry that are local to you that won't cost you a lot of money. It might mean just figuring out, where are people speaking in your area, in your neighborhood, with interesting topics that other people like you might attend, so you can meet attendees at these events and conferences. The goal is to show up in as many places as possible with other people. Why? Well, so that when you're there, you can show up, tell them who you are, what you do, and not sell them, but to get to know them a little bit and then say, maybe we can follow up and chat sometime. I'd love to know more about what you do, especially if you meet people that would be potentially good for your service. If nothing else, seek out people that have the energy of connecting you to other people. You can always find that person in the room that tends to know a lot of people. They're that connector. They have a lot of friends. Find those people. Point is, get out there into the communities and meet as many people as possible. I personally was slow to meet people locally. I was more interested in going to conferences that were a little further away that were in my industry. So going to the marketing conferences, the social media conferences, the podcasting conferences, that's where I went to meet people and share my energy. And that network of people that I felt like understood me and I understood them, starts to become your community. And that's where you need to represent yourself and let them know what you do and follow up. So just showing up isn't enough. After you meet people, make a habit of getting to know them and following up and setting up one-on-ones. So step one in community is show up at all these places and introduce yourself. Step two is take back from those meetings and events, a list of people that you can follow up with and not offer services. Just get to know better on a one-on-one phone call, period. Be genuinely interested in what they do and think about, is there anything you can help them with? It doesn't have to be a service. It could be a referral, right? That's a common one. It could be just asking them what they're doing and just being someone for them to talk to. It could be sending them something thoughtful that you had a relevant conversation about. Maybe you talked about something that you're like, oh, there's a good book on that. You can send them the book. Maybe you can just send them a little invite to an event that's coming up that they might be interested in. Whatever it is, make a connection, follow up, check on them, or just engage with them on social media, like their posts, whatever it might be. Show up first in real life and then engage and follow up afterwards. Beyond events, you can also join groups and clubs, other kinds of things that are online or offline or both that are in your business or industry. Join clubs, join memberships, join masterminds and networking groups, and be involved. Get to know people in them. The more you can put yourself out there and put your energy outwards instead of inwards trying to strategize your business, the better off you will be. So community is part two. And then part three is going to be content. Now, I used to have this flipped. I used to say content first. I actually think now the more time you can spend outward, great. But you're going to have free time. And the more you can fill your free time with productive tasks, the better. So I would say schedule those days where you just don't have anything going on as content days, and sit down and all those things you're experiencing now out in the world, the ways you're helping people, try to write down or express in a recording like a podcast or a video, or just write it down like a blog. Write down the things, your processes for helping people, and the things about how you approach those things, the little things, just the step-by-step and little tips that you have along the way, or questions people ask as you start to work with them. Start to answer those things in a little, like a recorded content form, and save them, because there's going to be other people that ask those questions too, that you can now send them this content, right? Think of it as a great follow-up mechanism. Or you could say, hey, based on our conversation this other day, it inspired me to write this article that answers that question. Here you go. Take it. I hope it's helpful for you. Design your content to serve, right? To serve in reality, based on, instead of like a fictional content, create content that really helps people based on questions you were actually asked in real life. Start there. And then as you start to do that more often, you might decide that there's just a really big theme or category that all this stuff falls into, that you want to create something bigger around in terms of a show or some kind of podcast or YouTube channel or blog or whatever that is more consistent. And guess what? The people that you've started to get to know out there in the real world, hopefully you've gotten their emails and you can start to send them this content over time. That is how you connect it, right? Now you've started with impact, you moved towards community and getting involved and meeting people. And now that you're creating content, that content also starts to have impact, because it's based on real world scenarios, and that content can really help people. So that is your follow-up now to real people, as opposed to just putting it out on the internet where no one's going to see it, right? So start with that, start with the impact, move on to the community, and then finalize it with some content. And that content's going to anchor you. It's going to start to define who you are. It's going to help you find your voice and your perspective so that you can start to apply that and build constructs and frameworks for helping more and more people. Eventually, instead of helping 1 or 2 people and then 10 people and then groups of people, you're going to want to build your business to serve more people over time as the demand grows. Your content now can be a gateway for them to come into your world and serve the people that you don't have time for or that aren't sure yet about you and are getting to know you via content because they didn't meet you in real life yet. So use that as a catalyst for that. And over time, all these things work together. And your personal brand now will be focused on strong anchor points of you actually helping people, which helps build your reputation, you getting involved in communities that matter and serving, which builds your reputation with more people, and you putting out knowledge that helps people see what you are all about and what you want to be known for, which builds your reputation. All of this contributes to your personal brand. It is the ingredients to a strong reputation, which is your personal brand. And then you can get into all the other things, which is like design your website, figure out how you want to present yourself in terms of the, how you introduce yourself and how you build your offer descriptions that are more pronounced and more specific. But start with just figuring out, how do I help one person today with something small that is done for you instead of done with you or the other, course type things. Start with that and grow. And I hope that framework helps you take one step in this process of figuring out how you can build something for you that isn't just your job in a corporate world, helps you build something for you, makes it a little clearer, that you can think of 5 or 10 things that you could help people with today that are small, done for you type services. And when you can do that, you might have a little bit of momentum and energy flowing in the right direction. That's my personal branding framework. I hope that speaks to you. If it does, take a snapshot of this episode, post it on Instagram. I'd love to hear if this is something that spoke to you. And again, if you want to work with someone on that, if you want some help, or at least want to tell me your idea and story and move down the right road, be happy to talk to you. Go to brandsonbrands.com/coach. And let's get started working on your personal brand. All right, y'all. I had a great time with this episode. I hope you did too. And I look forward to creating more content like this. I hope you guys keep tuning in, and I'll catch you all next week.
You've just taken your marketing knowledge to another level with this episode of Brands on Brands. But we have plenty more ways to help you build a brand that matters. Head over to brandsonbrands.com for resources, as well as access to our blogs, videos, and exclusive coaching sessions with your host. Be sure to visit brandsonbrands.com.